All right, so the NFL season wrapped up this past Sunday, the 100th season, the 2019-2020 season, whatever you want to call it. And I have some thoughts about the Patriots. First and foremost, I hope everyone had a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, all the good stuff. Let's talk some football. Let's talk about the Patriots. If there's any phrase I could use to sum up the entire season, it's start off with a bang, go out with a whimper. Let's get the bad out of the way first, and I'm going to bring to the spotlight the offense. Now, it's a lot easier for me to pick apart certain things that are just bad as opposed to the defense where I can get it out of the way in a few seconds. But anyway, let's stick to the offense for now, and I'm starting with Tom Brady. Now, anyone that knows me knows I'm a Tom Brady fanboy. I love Tom Brady. Guy is one of my idols. I love the guy. It's part of the reason I'm a big Pats fan. But guys, he's had a terrible year. He really did. I'm not gonna blindly defend him and act like that like let me make 10,000 excuses. Believe me, I got a problem with more than just him on the offense. But let's talk about him. Some of the throws he has made this year have just looked awful. I mean, he's overthrown guys. He's thrown terrible interceptions in the end zone. But I mean, he threw a pick six, an ugly pick six against Miami this past Sunday. There are games this year where he looks great and he's on point. But when he's awful, he could be part of the reason we lose games. And he has been. I hold him partially responsible for this for the loss this past Sunday against the Dolphins. I don't hold it 100% against him, but I do hold a part of it, that pick six being a huge reason. Now, there was a pick six against, not a pick six, excuse me. It was an interception against the Giants. Janoris Jenkins picked him off. It was an ugly throw. I don't know if it's age or if it's, the environment around him, but whatever the case, he hasn't been good. Now I want to talk about the run game, and I mean the run game as a whole, because it hasn't been great. Now, before I do so, I kind of want to put Sony Michel to the side for maybe about half the criticism, because there were games where he was running really good, running solid, running through tackles and breaking tackles and getting some decent yards, and they just stopped using him for some reason. But that being said, at the beginning of the year, he definitely wasn't great. So I'm not going to completely shield him from the criticism. I'm not going to put up the shield in front of him. But I'm going to say for some games, kind of wasn't his fault. The run game as a whole was just too inconsistent. And when your run game is not consistent, it's going to be hard to have a potent offense. You have to be able to have a run game. The Patriots, they got the running backs for it. We've seen it. I mean, Sony Michel had 931 rushing yards alone in his rookie season. Now let's talk about the wide receivers. So, unfortunately, some of this is due to bad luck. Now, I don't say that as an excuse, but just hear me out. We signed Antonio Brown, and I'll be honest, I was a chump. I thought, oh yeah, oh man, Pats are unstoppable now. They got Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon on opposite ends, along with Philip Dorsett's pretty good, and Julian Edelman's always great with Tom Brady. And I mean, the tight end core ain't great, but screw it. Antonio Brown and Josh Gordon on opposite ends. Excuse me, I can't talk. Woo, kind of thing. But unfortunately, he got his dumb ass in trouble got released, rightfully so. And Josh Gordon, yeah, he ended up getting put on IR like out of nowhere, and then he ends up getting put on waivers. Seattle claimed him. N'Keal Harry started off the season on IR for the first 8 weeks, so that's definitely not good. Philip Dorsett got injured here and there, spent a few weeks on the concussion protocol. Julian Edelman wasn't 100% here and there. I don't know if he sat out any games off the top of my head. I can't remember. Then there's Mohamed Sanu. We traded for him at before the deadline. Gave up a second round pick for him, so pretty steep. But at the time, yeah, I thought it was a good deal. But for the most part, his time in New England, he's been pretty up and down. Yeah, so now N'Keal Harry has shown some signs of greatness, and I'm definitely more excited now than I've ever been for him. I'm also pretty excited for Jakobi Meyers, and let's not forget Gunnar Olszynski. He also got put on IR. Pretty decent return man, but I don't know. I didn't see him much in the wide receiver core. I also think the lack of tight ends didn't help with our offense. But now let's get to the root of the problem, and that's the offensive line. Even Dante Scarnecchia couldn't make a miracle happen with this, but unfortunately, much like the wide receiver core, a lot of it does come down to bad luck. And, it starts with David Andrews. He started the season on IR. He had a blood clot in his heart, so obviously that had to get taken care of. And while we're on the subject, I do hope he's doing well. He's doing better, and I hope he gets well soon. But also Isaiah Wynn ended up getting injured again, and then there's Marshall Newhouse. Uh, for lack of a better word, he sucked. And I'm not going to go any further from there. I'm not going to attack the guy any further. I'm just going to leave it there. He wasn't very good. Kind of boils down to one thing: the Pats, they don't have enough depth at offensive line. Uh, our offensive lineman, our left tackle, is becoming a little too injury prone. Also, I think it was Marcus Cannon. He was also injured here and there. I'm not sure if Shaq Mason was too, or if he managed to play all the games. Again, if anybody knows in the comment section below, feel free to throw it down there. But so while I do say it was the root of the offensive woes, bad luck certainly played its role. And I mean, kind of showed even the best of coaches can have trouble with that. Now let's get to the one bad thing that I have to say about the defense, and mostly it just comes down to the few games where they got exposed. And for the most part, they played quarterbacks that were pretty damn good, like Lamar Jackson, who's having an MVP season, and I firmly believe he is going to be the MVP. So that's that. Deshaun Watson, pretty capable quarterback, actually really good quarterback, taking Houston in the right direction, that's for sure. So it is what it is. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, yeah, I do still think they got screwed in that game by bad officiating, but hey, Pat Mahomes is still a good quarterback. Actually, the defense played pretty solid that game. They really did get screwed on bad calls. So I guess besides that game alone, now you might have noticed I didn't mention Ryan Fitzpatrick in that list, and that's because I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's that freaking good. This is the worst thing I'm going to say about the Pats defense. What the hell was that on Sunday? Excuse me for a second. Let me just rant about the game on Sunday. They had to win this game. They completely came out and just shat the bed. The defense played absolutely awful. Gave up over 300 yards to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Good God. And I mean, I love Stephon Gilmore. He's my favorite defensive player on the team, but Guys, he had an awful game on Sunday. Devontae Parker turned him into Swiss cheese. He chewed him up. I mean, I couldn't believe how bad he was playing. Oh, dude, pick it up in the playoffs, please. So moving on to the good. Now, first I want to talk about the special teams. Special teams actually wasn't that bad this year. It was really good last year. I don't have the numbers on hand, but I remember a few games this season where the special teams were very crucial in a few big wins and just overall were really good this season. And I hope that transcends into the playoffs. I really do. Special teams is really good. There's a reason our special teams coach is being looked at for a head coaching spot, guys. And I've heard that he's actually being groomed to be our next offensive coordinator. Should Josh McDaniels leave? I almost said Josh coordinator. But Josh McDaniels, if Josh McDaniels were to leave, which now I'm hearing that might happen again. Now, again, we've heard those rumors. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to even get into the special teams coach, but I'm just saying there's a reason our special teams coach is being looked at. He's done some damn good work with our special teams. And I could just list a few guys like Matthew Slater, the special teams like specialist, the guy that made special teams awesome. Brandon Bolden's also had some pretty good plays on special teams. I believe Kyle Van Noy also had a few good plays. I might be thinking of last year. I'm completely going off the top of my head, guys. But yeah, the special teams definitely was very good. And finally, the last good thing I want to talk about is overall the defense. I don't know if they ended the season number 1 or number 2 overall. I would guess number 2. But maybe they were number 1. I don't know. But just overall, and say what you will in the games that they did get exposed, they played pretty well against Kansas City. They played good enough to win, I would say. Stephon Gilmore, as a whole, phenomenal season. He was actually tied for the most picks. He had 6 on the year. I forget there was a dude from Minnesota. I forget his name at the moment, but I know Tre'Davious White also had 6. So Devin McCourty had a hell of a year. The linebacker core was great. The pass rush was, for the most part, pretty solid. Now, again, there were a few games where they got exposed, but honestly, few and far between. They finished at least in the top 2, so that's pretty damn good. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the playoffs. Now, unfortunately, they're playing in a wild card game against Tennessee, and I honestly don't remember the last time they played in a wild card game. And I'd be lying if I said I was not nervous at all. Judging by the fact that we lost to Miami this past Sunday, and we're essentially going into the playoffs on the lowest possible note. I mean, we were looking at a first round bye, but ended up losing our last game, and we had to settle for a number 3 seed. And now we got to play in a wild card round. It really does feel like a lot of our momentum has been taken from us, and it's kind of made me a little nervous in the playoffs against the Titans this Saturday. But with that said, I don't think they're going to lose to Tennessee. I think Tennessee's a good team. I don't think New England's going to hand them their ass or anything, but I guess it's hard for me to see the Pats losing to Tennessee because I'm a Pats fan. So I'm going to be a little hopeful here. I am a little nervous for this game, and it is because we lost to Miami, but we lost to Miami last year. Now, granted, that was in Miami, but still, we've had bad losses in great years before. We've always found a way to bounce back, so maybe that's why I don't think we're going to lose to Tennessee. As Kyle Van Noy said, this is the perfect time for a revenge tour. So let's just hope. Let's hope the revenge tour does kick in. Let's hope Tom Brady turns back into like Tom Brady and they get one more Super Bowl, at least one more Super Bowl run. And you know what? Who knows? It's happened before. Who's to say it won't happen again? That's pretty much it, guys. That's all I have to say about this so far. After Saturday night, I will make a video talking about the playoff game against Tennessee, whether they win or lose. Let's hope I'm talking about a win. As I said, I hope they don't lose. I don't think they're gonna lose, but we'll see. But anyway, guys, that's all I got. So be sure to subscribe to my channel. Uh, Comment with your thoughts below on the Patriots season. What are your thoughts going into the playoffs? What are your thoughts on the regular season? And just overall, everything I talked about in this video. Whatever you want to talk about, throw it in the comment section below. But anyway, until next time, go Pats.